Oh, look, it's a boob chapter. I sometimes feel like Oda probably wants to do this all the time, but his editors don't let him. So as a compromise, every 70 chapters or so, he gets to draw some nude stuff. I think the last one was the bathhouse chapter, and now we have this here with Black Maria and Yamato. And even apart from that, it was just a fantastic chapter overall. Very rewarding, I feel. I think it also had a very unique vibe, pretty unlike most of Wano so far, but I absolutely loved it. A lot of very intimate Straw Hat moments. The thing I probably loved most was all the payoff that we got for Sanji's character development during Whole Cake Island. I think now this scene here with Black Maria makes just way more sense, and I can't wait to see who Sanji is gonna fight now. I'll go into detail about that in a sec, but Jack and Queen seem to be the top two candidates. Also, Jack having already recovered from all these wounds, man, zones are something else when it comes to durability and regeneration. Plus, I absolutely love how they duct tape his tusk back on. So grab yourself a nice hot cup of coffee and let's talk about chapter 1005 of One Piece. A quick note on the cover page, Katakuri munching down on some donuts is not only very wholesome to watch, I feel, but probably also exactly what he's doing right now, though I honestly wish he would come to Wano already. Now the chapter itself picks up right where we left off last week, with Black Maria pressuring Sanji to call Robin and lure her literally into the spider's web. After all, both Kaido and Big Mom need Robin to read the poneglyphs for them, and they're probably not even the only ones. To make her argument a little bit more convincing, Black Maria puts on some brass knuckles and starts tormenting Sanji's face with them. Pretty brutal, I think. Now, one thing that I've been thinking about for quite a while now is that Black Maria must have had some really traumatizing experiences with men in her past. Her entire crew is built around the theme of strong and independent women, and later in this chapter, as she removes her kimono, she reveals a tattoo of the word Jonan, which literally means trouble with women. Also, quick side note, I'm not sure what happened here, but anatomically speaking, the back view of Black Maria with some of her breast showing on the side looks a bit off to me, but maybe that's just me. Maybe they should just let Oda draw that stuff more often after all. Now, what Oda seems to hint at pretty obviously here, I think, is Black Maria having had some terrible experiences in her past that made her resent men. Since she's running a brothel, I think it might likely have been something in that context. And so ultimately, the way that she found to deal with that terrible past was apparently to get strong and now in return prey on men. I'm really hoping we'll get some mini flashbacks for all of the Toby Robo, but Black Maria's story in particular seems to be especially promising, I feel. And I think based on all of this, Robin might actually be the perfect opponent for her, as she also had to fight her way through a male-dominated world. Basically, Robin convincing Black Maria that not all men are primitive and evil. In fact, I think we can see this already coming into play right here. Because while everyone, including Black Maria's crew, seemed to be convinced that Sanji would rather die than call for Robin's help, he does the exact opposite and calls for Robin to save him pretty much the moment he gets the chance to. And if you look closely at Black Maria's face, she is genuinely shocked and taken aback here. And I think the reason for that is that Sanji as a man called a woman for help to save him, basically switching the typical stereotypes here. And I think that goes so strongly against her stereotypical view of men that she was genuinely shocked here. I personally think that Sanji's and Black Maria's arc is far from over, and he has scored some massive points with that here. But let's actually talk about Sanji himself, because this scene was the big payoff to the entire Whole Cake Island arc for Sanji's character. The entire arc was about Luffy convincing Sanji that he doesn't have to be the shining knight that protects everyone all the time, but that he can also rely on his friends just as much as they rely on him. All of them deal with problems and weaknesses together. Now, Sanji's ideal of not hurting women is a big part of his personality, as we all know. And even though Sanji is well aware of the trouble that it's caused for him and the crew on a regular basis, basis, he always has tried to find a way out by himself. After the events of 𝚘𝚏𝚒 Island, however, while still protecting his creed, Sanji has clearly gained a lot more respect for women in general and drastically changed the relationship to his crew. Him asking Robin to save him, basically letting her be his white knight saving him from the net of the monster, is just a 180 turnaround on his whole worldview. He now trusts in Robin's strength and cleverness to fight on her own. In other words, he's now able to follow his creed while still acknowledging that women can be just as strong and tough as men. Just as Luffy has everyone in the crew to make up for his weaknesses, Sanji now allows his crewmates, his female crewmates, to make up for his weakness. I got a feeling that people will still keep going after Sanji for this, but I hope you see why this might be one of the best Sanji chapters in the story so far. This is some drastic character development, and exactly the reason why every Straw Hat, as well as Marco, reacts extremely positively to this. Nami, for instance, knows right away that he's fighting a woman. And just look what this simple act of trust and respect did to Robin. She was there within seconds, suddenly reverting back to her old badass self that we've been missing basically since the time skip. Remember, Robin's burden was always that no one really needed her. Sanji just gave her the ultimate acknowledgement, and that wink and heart she gave him is probably the most genuine sign of affection that Robin has ever given to anyone in the story, maybe next to Luffy. And I think you can really tell that Oda put a lot of effort into bringing this feeling across with this scene. The wink is drawn with a lot of detail and feels just very real to me. And while I'm admittedly usually not the biggest fan of Sanji's heart face, in this moment here, I can 100% relate. If you don't see just how great this entire moment is, I honestly feel really bad for you, cause this is just wonderful, wonderful storytelling. I think that seeing this as anything but a major win for Sanji is just ignoring the story up until now. And the same goes for Robin. Sanji enabled her to get one of my favorite moments with Robin, maybe even since Enies Lobby. The lines she drops in this chapter are just too damn badass, and she even references her darker and more badass past herself. The way that she bitch slaps Black Maria away from Sanji is wonderful, again strongly opposing her view of men looking down on women. I think this will be an absolutely fantastic fight. Also, I don't want to ignore Brook, who has just gotten more and more reliable since 𝚘𝚏𝚒 Island and is a wonderful and really powerful support wherever he goes, no matter if it's cutting Zeus or through Black Maria's webs. Also, this is actually a really nice callback to Thriller Bark, where Brook and Robin also fought a spider. And did you see how all of the yokai called Brook a monster? I think that was generally funny. Oh, and by the way, the freakish weapon that Black Maria is wielding is actually another yokai, a so-called Wanyudo that consists of a tormented man's face stuck on an ox cart wheel. I do wonder if Black Maria's crew are actually devil fruit users or something else. Oh yeah, and of course, just like everyone else, I wonder if Black Maria will actually be fighting topless, though I think we all know she probably won't. Oh, and of course we also have the short sequence where Yamato, for some unknown reason, decides to show us her chest as well, and actually hides Momo in there. Lucky guy. And she explains to us how the actually very sophisticated surveillance and communication system in the castle works before breaking through their pursuers. I just love Yamato. Actually, so much so that I made an entire video about it. You can watch that here. Thanks guys. Peace.